Dave, we'll start with last Saturday. You're obviously searching for consistency at the minute, but has the bar been set for you now in terms of the performance you expect from the players?
Yes and no. I think, listen, the big thing for me and the consistency I want is in terms of us looking like us, and probably for the first time this season over a long period of game, we didn't look like that on the Tuesday against Wycombe, which again, I've said before, is okay if you learn from that. So the biggest or the most pleasing thing about last Saturday was the fact that we were true to what our principles are, and that's not, we've not tried to change and go away from what we were. We want to be better at better versions of us than last season, and improve in the areas that we felt that we need to improve the most. And we've done that in periods over games, not again over the course of 90 minutes. And we were closer to that on Saturday, and I don't think there's any surprise that the result then comes on the back of that.
Last week the message was obviously not to overreact to that Wycombe defeat, to draw a line under it and move on. Is it a similar kind of messaging after Saturday in terms of not getting too carried away and putting it behind you and focusing on the next?
That's always the message for us. It's always around, again, being as consistent as possible, whether it's shut down meetings, whether it's reviewing what we've done, things we can do better. Obviously on the back of wins, that them meetings are more enjoyable and tend to be got through quicker. And sometimes it's difficult to really see the positives when the emotion of a defeat or a bad performance can, I suppose, cast a shadow over it. But it's our job to make sure we look at the bits that we're asking them to do, and as a group, it's important that anything that we do review and look back on is based around what we want our behaviours to be, and our behaviours aren't around the technical aspect or the tactical aspect of performances. There'll be bits that we need to pull out on, but if you look at where Saturday was, I think in the closed down meeting of the clips that we showed, and there's quite a lot. Maybe one of them was technical, one of them was tactical in terms of a set piece that we defended, but we could have defended in a slightly better manner, something we've spoken about before we went into the game. All the other things were just about our behaviours and what we want to be. And again, if those things are taken care of, as much as I've said it before, as much as we hate losing, don't like losing, then you're going to lose football matches. That's a given, and we're in a league now that's more competitive. We've had to step up, so the likelihood is that we lose more games, and how we handle them is going to be important.
Just touching briefly on Tuesday night, strange game, obviously not too much riding on it in terms of the result. You made 11 changes. Was there maybe a disappointment that players didn't maybe make the most of their opportunities that they got? Yeah,
because as much as you can say there's not too much riding on it, again, the way I'd be looking at it from a player's perspective, and maybe players are different nowadays, would be I'd look at the numbers and go, the likelihood is the team's going to be not too dissimilar. There's one place up for grabs with Ibby being away on international duty, but there are 6 outfield places on the bench, and there are potentially 10 or 11 started in, or 10 or 11 involved, that the maths will tell you that 3 or 4 might miss out, and I'd make sure that I wouldn't be the one to miss out and cause me a problem around team selection. Again, look further down the line, maybe he's back next weekend, but Campsey's potentially back next weekend, so there's more bodies to add to the group. You've got to make sure you put yourself right at the head of the queue in terms of how you train, how you play when you get them opportunities, how you affect the game when you come on, if you come on, in order to make sure you still play your part. And yeah, that's the disappointment for me. First half performance, absolutely miles off it. Second half better, but it shouldn't take us getting into a bit at half time in order to produce a performance. You're playing on an absolute bowling green of a pitch, with no pressure on the game from our perspective, because we'd essentially qualified, we'd essentially finished top of the group, barring a really poor result. So you can go out and play with a freedom. I didn't see enough of that, and that's the bit that was the most disappointing.
coming towards the end now of a really busy period of Saturday, Tuesday over the last couple of weeks. Has everyone come through unscathed where you are at? Where are you at injury-wise?
Pretty much. We're not, I suppose, far away from a clean bill of health. There's obviously some niggles. You've got players coming back that have been out for long term, so you have to manage what that looks like. Paoli's obviously going to be into the new year. Tyler had surgery on Monday, so he's going to be 14 weeks or so. The only then really leaves Noiley, and Noiley's probably looking at a December return in terms of return to training, and then what that looks like getting him back involved in matches and things like that. So we're in a far better place than what we were. As you say, we've come through a busy period. We have 2 weeks essentially where we go Saturday to Saturday, and then that busy period turns busy again, and you go into the busiest period and probably the most difficult period of the season around Christmas, just because of the distractions of Christmas and the time of the year, what that brings, and the different things that go on around family and friends and kids and all that, but also playing games on days that aren't Saturday, Tuesday. So it does really become about the game and recover and play and recover, regardless of like days, a Sunday, a New Year's Day, a Christmas Day, whatever it might be. You have to as a footballer, it's the period in this country where there are the most demands. That's something you're very aware of. It's an important time because of the amount of games in a short period of time, and a big opportunity. So, like I say, we've got to prepare ourselves for what that period looks like, because, like I say, take the next 2 weeks out of it. When we hit the FA Cup game and then we go to Birmingham on the Wednesday, we're pretty much going to be play all the way through until the middle of January.
As you touched on, no Ibi Toure on Saturday. He's away with Gambia, and that will be a loss, because arguably he has been one of your more consistent performers this season.
It will be, but again, with one person's disappointment becomes another person's opportunity. So again, I'm going into the game on Saturday making sure that I perform, and that when we play the following Saturday, Ibi can't get in the team. That's the consequence of being an international player, if you like. And that whoever does play is going to make it as difficult as possible for us not to make any changes. You obviously want as much your whole squad available, but it comes at a time where we've got players back that can cover those positions, if you like, or that position on the pitch. So sort of hampers us, but not hampers. It doesn't hamper us as maybe as severely as it might have done 2 or 3 weeks ago.
These two sides playing on Saturday are obviously no strangers to each other. You've really shared that journey together, I suppose, from the National League to where you are now. That has created a competitive rivalry. Has it been a healthy rivalry from your point of view?
It has, from my perspective. But again, everyone will have an opinion on what that looks like. I've said in my programme, listen, on Saturday, whether it's a group of supporters, a group of players, or a group of management staff, they'll be desperate to get one over on the other team and want to win the game. But that's no different to last Saturday and last Tuesday, and it doesn't make any difference around what will happen after the game. We'll share a drink with the staff, like we did at the back end of last season, the last day of last season, where we congratulated each other, and that'll be no different at the weekend. Do we want to win the game? Of course we do. Do we want to finish above Wrexham in the league? Of course we do, just as they want to finish above us. I think what I can say pretty safely is if we finish in and around them, then I'll be pretty happy, because I expect them to be up there competing right at the top of the table. So that's the competition, that's the aim for us. The teams haven't changed massively in terms of personnel and things over the time. Of course, players are going to move on, and style of play is going to evolve slightly. But both teams are really competitive, and both teams will want to win.
And finally, on the fans, the atmosphere inside Edgeley Park last week seemed to make a big difference, particularly in the second half. You're going to need that again tomorrow, aren't you? Yeah,
and what I would say, it's probably similar thing to say to the players, really. It's almost easy to create an atmosphere when you're 3-0 up. I get it. It becomes really, really difficult to create an atmosphere when you're 3-0 down. And that's where the challenging moments are, and that's where the challenging moments are for the players. So whether it be an adversity and disappointment, and to be fair, I'll go back to the Whittam game. Forget Saturday, the supporters really stayed with the players, which was massively important. It didn't have an impact. That's not their fault. That's on us. So the atmosphere Saturday will take care of itself, because their end will be full. There'll be good banter between the supporters, a brilliant atmosphere, a great game to play in, and probably over the course pretty equal in terms of results, what the results have looked like, and I'm sure that from a player's perspective, this game will look like a high intensity League One, League Two, National League game that it has looked like for the past 3 years. I don't see it being a whole lot different, and that's something that we have to accept, and we have to thrive in and make sure that we play our part in wanting the game to look like we want it to.
Appreciate your time as always, Dave.
Welcome. Cheers. Thank you.